right? And so that's why I broke them up into what I call the technology signals, which I believe are the primaries right now, and then interpretive signals, which are kind of like the other signals that go around, that go around the technology framework. But my opinion, having gone through this with so many customers for so long, is that right now the narrative matters as much as the numbers. So in other words, the story that your consumption patterns, the story that your adoption framework, all of that those signals are creating a story that Microsoft's reading those signals, and the technology signals are the ones that I think matter most. Microsoft wants to see, and I'm not saying, not saying right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Microsoft they have a vision of the world, right? They have a vision of the world that they think is the best vision, and they genuinely believe that, right? And so how you align with that vision is going to impact, how they negotiate with you and how they perceive you as a customer. And so technology signals, I think, are the core part of that vision. Right now, it's all about AI and specific workloads. Right now, tomorrow it may be something different, but Microsoft has really been about, remember, before AI, it was security, right? Microsoft was trying to, they kind of own the office world. So they were trying to now own, the security space, right? And then AI came along, and security is still an important signal, but now AI is, what are you doing with Copilot? What are you doing with Copilot Studio? Soon to be, what are you doing with Agent 365 and Work IQ, et cetera? Those are the conversations Microsoft wants to have. And the further along that technology vision you are, the greater Microsoft's flexibility is. It's always been that way, but it's way more important now, the workloads themselves. Like I said, what are you doing with AI, Copilot Studio, et cetera? Now they got E7 though, like E7, that platform depth. So if you're talking about strategic workloads, but platform depth now matters too. Who's on E3? Who's on E5? Who's on E7? And then the stuff in orbit around it, because Azure still matters, Dynamics 365 still matters, unified support matters. So those signals, I think, are how Microsoft constructs their vision of where you are relative to where they want you to be. And then the other things are kind of icing on the cake. Are you an iconic brand? Is something that you're doing potentially a case study that will help them win other customers, right? And then, obviously, but one of the real points I wanted to make with that graph is it all the traditional stuff, is it end of quarter? Is it end of year? Where is the sales team relative to quota? All of that stuff matters, but it's just one button on that wheel now, right? It's just one category, and there's all these other things that you need to be aware of. And we used to focus only on that one, only on what I call the traditional signals. That was the game, right? But the game's much bigger and much more complicated now.